There exists a forgotten paradise inhabited by amazing creatures. But this forgotten world is disappearing.
It's terrible. We can hear the sound of chainsaws in the distance.
I spent time with people who are fighting to save the forest and their most endangered inhabitants, the orangutans. Today, the species' last survivors are only found on 2 islands, Borneo and Sumatra. The fight between man and nature seems unfair, but for the orangutans, it's not over yet. There's still hope. For this young orangutan with no strength left in her body, it might be the end of a long nightmare. Already 6 hours of driving behind, and the road ahead to the village of Sedaka is still long for the veterinary patrol. Carmele Sanchez, a Spanish vet, leads operations like this one every week, but she never gets used to it. Often it's someone living in a small village who has turned in his neighbor.
In this house over there is an orangutan in captivity. Because it's an endangered species, it's completely forbidden here and illegal to have an orangutan as a pet. But it's quite usual here, unfortunately. And it's like even a sign of wealth, a sign of success, like to have a car or a nice car, something like that.
There's no way of knowing if the orangutan is still alive. For the team, the few seconds that separate them from the house seem endless.
It's an orangutan about 3 years old, 2.5 maybe. I think it's a girl.
How does she look?
Most of the times they normally look much worse, and I think the stomach is a bit bloated, sometimes because they don't get the right food, and also because probably it's got worms.
For the past 2 years, this baby, called Cindy by her owner, has been a prisoner in this little cage. She's never been let out. Cindy's fate is far from clear. To force the owner to give her up, police and the rangers back up the rescuers.
One day, an illegal logger gave me this baby orangutan. He told me it fell from the branch of a tree he was cutting down. I didn't really know how to take care of it, so I gave it to my aunt. She took pity on the animal and became attached to it. She cared for it and looked after it until today.
Do you think we can believe this?
It's impossible that a baby orangutan falls from
his or her mother, because they cling on to their mothers very, very strongly, and a mother will never leave a baby behind. So the story is always the same. They kill the mother, they take the baby. And why did they kill the mother? Normally they eat the orangutans, and they keep the babies and they keep them as pets, or they sell them.
On the Indonesian market, a baby orangutan can fetch up to more than $1,000. That's a fortune to this family of modest means. After half an hour of negotiations, the family accepts to give up Cindy and only receives a warning.
Boleh saya bantu, Bu? Oke, biar saya bantu, Bu. Cindy.
He stays so long in his cage, but now he's afraid to go out.
Rescuing an animal like Cindy feels like saving a small piece of innocence, a part of this savage world which fades with each passing day.
Oh, sweetie.
We go home.
Now Cindy will have to handle the 10-hour ride to Carmele's refuge. What lies ahead for her in this rehabilitation center? Will she return to her forest one day?
Camille has just given the medicine to Cindy. We don't know yet if she's in good health or not. She seems to have a problem with her stomach. She's just holding her stomach all the time. And we have to rush because the center is at 6 hours from here. And Cindy become under stress and a little bit aggressive.
What's going on in Cindy's head? Is she curious? Frightened? Does she recognize the forest that she was ripped from? The trip is long. It's the first of many breaks.
Cindy? It's really encouraging because at each break she's getting better and better, and she seems to be more confident also, so that's really positive.
Everything around her is a new discovery, unknown, and probably a little scary too. Like all young her age, Cindy should have spent the first years of her life next to her mother. Of all the great apes, orangutans have the longest education, 8 years. These years are vital in an orangutan's life. By imitating her mother's gestures, a young orangutan learns to recognize the 2,500 species of trees and the 5,000 varieties of plants. They feed her and keep her healthy. An orangutan will also learn that to avoid predators, they should never descend to the ground. Education, a mother's love, tenderness. Cindy has had no time to experience these things. Humans changed her destiny, and today they threaten an entire species. More and more people, less and less space. To satisfy the bulimia of our consumer society, sacrifices are made. In Indonesia, we level forests to plant palm trees and make palm oil. This oil is present in most food and cosmetic products. A very lucrative business, which makes some people very wealthy at the expense of the lives of others. Arriving at Carmelès, it's clear that the tragedy is very real. The vision of all these caged animals is like an electroshock. There are Cindy's everywhere. The refuge has only been active for 3 months, and Carmelès has already taken in 12 orphans in need. There's no more room.
You don't have any clinic here?
No, not yet. We are hoping to have one, but right now this is what we have.
A quick checkup and an anti-parasitic shot. That's all Carmelès can do for the moment. As they wait to see what is wrong with Cindy, the baby orangutan is put into quarantine so that she doesn't contaminate the other residents.
In your home?
This is your new house.
After rescue, do you feel relief? You know, at least you save one of them.
Well, for now, it's difficult to say that I'm relieved. I know that we have moved her from one cage to another bigger cage. So it's still a very long process when she has to be rehabilitated and learn how to live in the forest and then released back into the wild. Then in that moment, I will feel relieved and I will feel that we have really rescued her.
The only crime these prisoners committed was to cross the path of humans. What do these extremely intelligent animals, capable of reason and thought, feel? Some will never get over the trauma.
Helen is an orangutan we still have in our center. She was rescued from a palm plantation. They killed the mother. They ate the mother. They beat her up and they tied her up on a stick. They kept her like this. It's really sad because it's not only that we are wiping out a species, but it's also that we are making them suffer so much. And I think they are so similar to humans, you know? They feel pain and they feel depressed and they feel many of the feelings that we also feel.
And why do you think people are so cruel here?
I think people are not more cruel here, is that they just don't care. Sometimes I wonder if I will be able to keep up.
To stop the massacre, the choice is clear. The last forests must be protected. This morning, there is a commando mission with the rangers of Commander Waryanto. Target: clandestine loggers who illegally destroy the orangutans' habitat.
According to the information, the illegal logger is somewhere there, in the middle of the rainforest. That's the road that they use to bring back the wood to the city. Now it's a race against time, because villagers may have seen our cars and they're going to alert the traffickants of our presence. Alors là, c'est un camion qui vient d'être abandonné. C'est sûrement des bûcherons. Ils ont vu la voiture et ils sont partis, ils se sont enfuis. Ah bah oui, il y a du bois là. Voilà, plein de bois précieux. Il y a les finières en plancher ou en meubles. Le but là, c'est vraiment de décourager les bûcherons. Ils vont confisquer le matériel, ils dégonflent les pneus. Ah, ils vont sûrement revenir. Mais au moins à chaque fois, ça leur fait perdre de l'argent et c'est comme ça qu'on peut combattre la déforestation.
D'un côté on détruit, de l'autre on protège. C'est une guerre qui oppose l'homme à lui-même.
There are those who think only of the present and those who want to construct the future. Saving our forests is just as vital for the orangutans as it is for us.
This is terrible, devastating. All these are illegal sawmills. They have cut down everything. There's no one left. We got here too late. There's nothing left, nothing.
They're nearby.
We need to be quiet. They're right there.
Yeah!
Among the group of illegal loggers working here, Ramat, 20, is the only one who didn't manage to escape. He runs a big risk because we are near the entrance to a protected national park.
Apa belum borgol? Nak borgol dulu?
Baru 2 hari, Pak. Baru 2 hari kerja?
Iya. Sumpah, Pak. Ah, kau bohong kau.
Sumpah demi Allah, Pak.
Borgol kau?
Jangan, Pak. Lari dia tadi.
Kau lari terjem pula kau.
Iya, aku udah tahu, Pak. Nyengong lari pula.
Sini kau. Diam. Kau ini kau belagak kau. Diam.
Tidak, Pak.
Berapa 7 tadi? Berenam tadi lari?
Tadi galau, Pak.
Why do you work here?
Iya, Pak. I know it's illegal, but I don't have the choice. I need money to pay for my studies.
How much do you earn?
About 60,000 rupees per cubic meter.
And how many cubic meters can you do in 2 days?
In a day, you can do at least 8.
Ramat took all these risks to earn $250 a month, 2 times the average Indonesian salary.
What's going to be his sentence?
The law says he can get 10 years in prison. In fact, the maximum is 5 years and a 10,000 rupee fine, 80,000 euros, according to Article 41 of the Forestry Code.
Do you think that kind of operation could stop deforestation?
It's always the same. We already came here last month. We burned everything, hoping to discourage them. But groups reformed, and they start up again.
In this poor country, riddled with corruption, these armed interventions are rare because they rock the boat. So the massacres continue. And today, Indonesia holds the sad world record for the highest percentage of deforestation.
What a dramatic situation. The young boy is not responsible. He's going to pay for the others. The problem is the people who hire them. The people who want to get money very fast, very much money, more and more. And they know that it's not going to last. Forests are not going to last forever. So they take advantage now and they try to take everything to empty the forest. I can't stand that.
"5,000 orangutans disappear every year because of deforestation. Without their habitat, their food, they die of hunger or are killed." Every hour, the equivalent of 240 football fields go up in smoke. They are immediately replaced by palm oil plantations. In just 60 years, the islands of Sumatra and Borneo have lost 70% of their forests. At this rhythm, by 2020, they will have almost completely disappeared, and the orangutans with them. the last orangutans of Sumatra took refuge in the Gunung Leuser Reserve, a paradise for all endangered animals and a model of conservation for the rest of Indonesia. Jan Singleton, a world-renowned scientist, is fighting to save these great mammals. Jan knows everyone here. He's a master at locating orangutans in their natural habitat. With him, you know you'll always have the chance for amazing encounters.
This jungle is a real biodiversity hotspot.
Yeah, the Leuser forests are certainly among the richest biodiversity areas in the world, yeah? Countless other birds, reptiles, amphibians, some of which we don't even know yet. But what's really unique here is it's the only place in the world, quite ironically, that you can still find all the big mammal species out of the Jungle Book stories still living together. Also of interest is that around 50% of all the drugs for sale in a European pharmacy originate from products found in these plants and animal species in forests just like these. It's quite unique and special for that.
The sounds, the smells, the light, everything here seems magical. This forest demands respect. It is at once incredibly strong and so very fragile.
It's quite difficult to judge Indonesians because we have done all the same. In Europe, everywhere, we cut all the forest.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean, now it's really hard to find original forest in England anyway, and what there is planted forest. But here you've still got a chance to save beautiful old trees like this. Yeah?
In this jungle, it's man that must adapt to nature for once, and not the other way around. A good lesson in humility. Here, everything must be earned. After walking for 2 hours, our efforts are finally rewarded. It's moving, but it's also terrifying to realize that this is one of the last of Sumatra's orangutans.
He's got a nice big beard, yeah.
How old is he?
It's difficult to tell. He's going to be at least 20, but he could be as much as... He looks like he's still pretty fit, so he's probably between 20 and 35, I guess. But he could be older.
The man of the forest.
Well, orang actually means person, so...
Yeah, this is a man.
Well, that is a man of the forest, yeah.
It needs a lot of time and patience to be very close to them, to be accepted in the world. It's so fantastic to see them in the trees.
This may be the first of the great apes on the planet to become extinct. We risk losing the forest's finest ambassadors. Orangutans are even more in danger because their birth rate is very low. On average, a female has 1 baby every 9 years. That's not many. Not enough to make up for the species' loss.
What would happen if orangutans were to disappear?
Yeah, you've got to remember that every species in a forest ecosystem like this has a really important role to play. I mean, these forests are not, suddenly planted by someone. They're a result of the interactions of countless different species. The point is, if you lose the orangutan, okay, the forest would still survive. But if you lose the orangutan and the siamang and the hornbills, all of which are the major fruit eaters in these forests, you're going to lose most of the species that you see today.
Why do you like them so much?
I don't know. I guess I maybe admire their free-spiritedness, their independence. Yeah. I mean, they're a huge ball of red, golden hair wandering around in the green of the forest with the sun. It's quite magical.
Who would want to live on a planet where there are no orangutans? If we allow a cousin who has more than 97% of DNA in common with us to disappear, it's likely that we will let others disappear as well. And one day, perhaps it will be our turn. To protect the orangutans, Jan welcomes them in a center like Carmele does. But this one is much bigger. There are 50 residents. And survivors arrive every day. Like Monkey, he's been here 2 days. Jan's team is putting him to sleep so that they can give him a complete physical. Around Monkey's neck, there are still traces of the rope that held him prisoner. This moment seems incredible. 6 people at an animal's bedside. An orangutan's life has become so precious that their good health is a priority. His fingerprints are taken, and he's given an identity.
I always take a photograph of this pattern because I have a theory that this stays with them for all their life. So if we have a good record of that, then we can identify the animal again just on the tooth pattern. Take it, have a go. Do another 8 here.
8? It's difficult, 8.
This one is 06B93768.
Finally, a chip is implanted that will help identify him if he is released one day.
Most of the orangutans we get are fine, you know, they're pretty tough animals, but sometimes we get ones that have been really badly beaten up or shot or got machete injuries or whatever. But let me show you this, I'll show you what I mean, yeah? Okay. This is Loser. You see this is the skull. And there's 2 eyes. So he's got 2 pellets in this eye and 1 in here. There's another one up here that's flattened on the top of the skull. And then he's got a bunch of these in his throat, even in the gums. Imagine what it feels like to have pellets in your gums. But what I find hard to believe is somebody has shot him 62 times. There's still 48 bullets still in the body, yeah? Can you imagine how uncomfortable it is? I mean, we've taken some of these out. The ones that we could find from the skin, we've actually taken out. But now we don't know how long he will live. He may eventually have problems with lead poisoning or something like that.
When people shot once on an orangutan, we cannot understand that, but 62 times, I mean, how it could be possible?
Most of the farmers and things around Indonesia, they see an orangutan and a squirrel and a rat as the same thing. They're all just animals. It's just another monkey.
Quand on regarde toutes les balles qu'il a dans le corps, c'est dégueulasse.
Lusser is still alive. It's a miracle. But he is blind. He's now condemned to live out his life in a cage. We say that the great apes only lack speech. If he could speak, what would he say? Two weeks have passed since the first visit to Carmele's. Time to see how Cindy, the little orphan, is doing.
Cindy is still in quarantine. Still a little bit depressed, but she feels quite better.
I hope that soon Cindy will be with the other baby orangutans in the nursery. The ambience is much more relaxed there.
This is the area of the baby orangutans. We bring them here because they have a few trees where they can already start practicing climbing trees and not to depend so much on being on the floor all the time. They will never touch the floor when they are this age and they are with their mothers, you know. Here they need humans, right? Well, they should be with their mothers, they should be with other orangutans, they shouldn't need humans, but because they will get too used to humans, and this is difficult in terms of rehabilitating them back to the wild.
Very good.
These red-haired sweeties are between 8 months and 3 years old. Here's where they will learn to be orangutans. They'll climb, build their muscles, develop their knowledge, and most of all, try to forget their traumatic pasts.
They look like human babies.
Well, the difference between a human baby and an orangutan baby is not too much. Obviously, human child will develop more and their brain also will develop more. But at this age, it's really, the similarities are so much that, you know, it's quite amazing to see them. This is not really like the ideal place for the orangutans to learn and to be trained, and it's just a garden, yeah? We haven't been able to get the funding to buy a piece of land where we can have some forest, but this is what we are aiming for, yeah?
Carmele lacks everything she needs to fight this battle, but she does fight with the help of a handful of volunteers. More than 1,000 orangutans are packed into the dozen or so centers across Borneo and Sumatra. But what are we going to do with them? As forests become rarer, they become a luxury. Freeing all these primates is a big challenge these days.
This is Angeli, this is Exos. They have been caught in an old pine plantation when they were only a few weeks. They never know the forest, only captivity, and the quarantine center in the north of Sumatra. We are taking these orangutans to one of the last forests in Sumatra. There, a team of scientists are going to take care of them and reintroduce them to the forest. What's amazing is that the habitat of orangutan has been reduced so much that we need to drive 3 days to reach the center. It's quite tiring for them, but at the end of the road may be the hope.
The center is isolated, far from curiosity seekers and anything that could disturb the animal's peace. It's necessary because what they will experience here will determine their futures. The people who work here have given up comfort and live far away from the world in the heart of nature, like Julia Sirigar and Amanda Frene, who run this center.
Does she care about what she sees?
No, I don't think so. She's probably very curious about all the different trees and the different sounds, but she'll settle right in shortly.
For the first time in years, Angeli and Exos will spend the night in the heart of the forest, even if for the time being they are still behind bars.
Do you think captivity in groups make them feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I really think it helps with that very first few days here at the centre. And also when we take them out to forest school, they learn a lot more when they're with the friends.
For the 2 orangutans that arrived yesterday, it's back to school. Every morning at 9, Amanda teaches class in forest school. Amanda isn't worried about them running away. Angali and Exos are too inexperienced and fearful to escape.
Quite heavy.
Hexos is already in the trees.
Oh, yeah?
So what's the lesson today?
These orangutans, since they were taken from the wild at such a young age, we just need to refresh their memory of what's available in the forest for when it's the dry season and food is harder to find. So we have some termite nests, some edible leaves and fruit, and also some rotan. These are all things that orangutans can come across in the forest and eat.
Alors là, en fait, l'idée, c'est de faire semblant de manger ce qui est à l'intérieur de la feuille pour que les orang-outans comprennent que c'est comestible, parce qu'ils apprennent par mimétisme. Donc du coup, il faut ouvrir, lui montrer que ça se mange, pour ensuite que lui reproduise le même geste. Donc du coup, pendant la saison sèche, quand il n'y a plus de fruits, ils reconnaîtront cette plante et ils pourront se nourrir et pas mourir de faim.
So here at the rehabilitation centre, we show the orangutans how they can eat the termites inside the nest. So we just pretend that we're eating them, so we just suck. And then the orangutans can learn what to do from us.
It's a little bit disgusting to show him like that.
These orangutans definitely have a lot of work to do before they can compete with the other wild orangutans, but we're confident that they will be able to survive in the forest, and since we've taught them how to find these rare foods for when times are tough, we think they'll do well.
On est dans une situation un peu absurde en fait, où ce sont les hommes qui apprennent aux orang-outans à se débrouiller dans la forêt. C'est dingue.
Il faudra au minimum 6 mois, voire plusieurs années, avant qu'Angeli et Exos soient parfaitement autonomes.
It's a long learning process during which the orangutans will develop their instinct.
But you don't need to teach them.
Yeah, this they remember how to do.
The oldest students perfect the nesting technique, and there's an art to it, because to be able to sleep, an orangutan needs a bed, and not just any bed. The cozier, the better. In forest school, some do better than others, like Django, though it must be said that he's been here 6 years and has taken the class a few times, so he knows all the exercises by heart. Django's a big show-off, but he's come a long way. In his former life, Django was abused, beaten, and traumatized by his owner, a soldier.
Django is 9 years old. In the wild, an orang-outan is living approximately between 40 and 50 years. It means that he spends 1/4 of his life in captivity. And bigger they are, more difficult it is to spend their time in a cage. Like that, he's really nice with me, but I have to be careful a little bit because he's got the strength as 3 men.
Django is very endearing. These are Django's final moments in forest school. In a few days, Amanda and Julius will give him back his freedom. Django is finally almost ready. He still has some things to learn about umbrellas. Luckily, it's not his major degree. Orangutans aren't the only ones with lessons to learn. At the kids' school this morning, they're getting a special lesson. For the past 10 years, Panat and his team have been trying to make young people more aware of orangutans. They've already visited 500 schools, and every time the class begins in the same way.
Hello, children. How are you? My name is Panut. I'm here to tell you about the orangutans of Sumatra. Have any of you already seen an orangutan? Not yet? Yes? No?
Give 4 examples of foods that orangutans eat.
A shoot.
What's a shoot?
Shoot?
A coconut shoot? Fruits? Seeds? And what else? Fried bananas. Come on, what else? Well, it looks like we have our work cut out for us. Good. Again. Louder.
All this makes me very optimistic. Children seem happy to understand the message. They discover many things on orangutans, an animal that they didn't know at all. So I think there are good reasons to hope.
That Panat is Indonesian makes his effort all the more admirable. It's not just the folly of a rich Westerner. It also means that the people of Indonesia are aware of the drama that is taking place in their own country. Panat was always conscious of the environment, and then one day, he decided to dedicate his life to it.
I would say nothing easy in this world, and especially for this challenge, for this fighting for the green forest, is not that, click your hand and then the problem is resolved. No, it's not like that. So it's life devotion, and I have done this since almost 10 years ago, and I will never stop doing this.
And do you think that you can change the things by education?
Yeah, I believe education is the key. So I think it is important to put the foundation in everybody for the next generations to have a green attitude, to become, green leaders in the future, to become green people who will stand in the front line to protect the environment. That's what we are doing now.
To change their attitudes, Panat has the children replant trees in this old palm oil plantation located a few kilometers from the school. Very symbolic. The earth here was devitalized by fertilizers and pesticides. Replanting is a real challenge.
Go ahead. Don't be afraid to put a lot of dirt on it.
It's going to be a hard work to replant everything.
Yeah, people can cut down the trees in a second, but they don't really think, in the future, this land, this soil can be bad for the environment. People here are quite angry with this kind of, deforestation, because now it's our responsibility, This should be done a long time ago by people who understand that cutting the forest is not correct.
It will take 150 years for a new forest to grow here. But Panut has one victory already. He convinced his former bosses at the plantation to work with him and help him replant.
It's just the beginning, but everyone here believes that one day orangutans will be back in the forest. We have just put Django in a cage because it's a very important day for him. Today, the team of SZS is going to release him. He's going to recover his freedom after 8 years. Django is not the only orangutan who's going to be released today. There is also Mona. She's a female and she has 6 years old. She has been here for 4 years.
Direction, the Tigapula Forest. It's here, on this 140,000 hectare reserve, that animals ready for freedom are released. Historically, no wild orangutans have ever lived on this part of the island. There were only tigers and elephants. But faced with the extinction of the primates' forest, today, this place is an ideal refuge for these survivors.
The trip is exhausting for us, but also for the animals. The temperature is over 110 degrees, with 98% humidity. We are going to walk for 3 hours in this mud, trying to avoid snakes, spiders, and leeches.
This spot is ideal. Surrounded by fruit trees and water, here, Django and Mona will have everything they need.
I think it's a good place.
Yes, this spot's perfect. Yes, put the cage there. We're at the exact spot on the GPS. We're about 8 kilometers from our scientific station. This place is really perfect.
Mona takes her first step toward freedom.
Go on, open it. Come on, climb.
She hesitates, wary. Is this really happening?
You didn't say goodbye to her.
Come on, Mona.
Look at her eyes. She's savoring her freedom, and soon captivity will just be a memory. Straight ahead, over there.
Now, it's Django's turn. He seizes the moment for fear it might slip away. At last, he has a second chance.
Go on, climb, climb.
Are you worried about Django?
Ya, ada rasa khawatir.
Of course, we're always worried, but we don't just abandon them. Trackers will follow them for several days. These 6 years we spent at the center have made it completely independent.
It's a unique moment. When I look at that, I say to myself that everything is possible. It's not too late. We still can save them.
Oh, Django, you come back to say goodbye to me. Goodbye, and good luck, Django. It's time to go now.
Hey, Cindy. Let's go and play.
One month after arriving in Carmele, Cindy has found her place in the orangutan nursery. If the Indonesian forests don't disappear, maybe she will one day be free too, like Django and Mona. All of us can do something to save Cindy and others like her. For example, by supporting those people working in the field, and by giving up palm oil-based products. Today, Cindy's health is good, and she seems almost happy.